What are your favorite memories of each of your children growing up?
I don't have one specific memory of each of my children in their early years. I have many. I hope to share a few here. Of course, I will never forget with thankfulness when each of them was baptized. Jeffrey was baptized at Vienna First Baptist, Jason at Jefferson Saint, and Jody at Second Baptist College Park. These were precious memories to me. Jeffrey and Jason loved playing in the water at an early age. We purchased a small molded pool and installed it in our backyard in Vienna. They loved to splash around in it. Jody was 2 and screamed any time she saw a body of water larger than a bathtub. When JW graduated from NOTBS in May 1978, we stayed at a hotel. Jason and Jeffrey were excited about getting to swim in a big pool. Of course, we were expecting hysterics from Jody. She was so curious seeing her brothers in the big pool that she walked over to the walk-in steps and sat down. As she got wet, she splashed some water and started laughing. She likes the big body of water, a significant breakthrough thanks to her brothers. All of the children were involved in sports. Jeffrey, Jason, and Jody all played summer baseball while we were living in Dublin. They all enjoy their teams and teammates. One day at the beginning of the season, we let Jason off for pregame practice and to get his jersey for the season. When we got to the game, I could not find Jason. Finally, someone told me to look at the catcher who had Jaybird on his jersey. I was looking for Jason and a player in the outfield. I think Jody lasted one season, 1 year. Jeffrey played on a team that was good enough to be in a playoff tournament. They played 4 or 5 games before winning the final game late on a Saturday afternoon. That was the day a group of us were heading to Indiana to work on a mission trip. Of course, we had planned to leave early on Saturday, but instead left late on Saturday and drove most of the night to get there. But we took 2 winning ball players with us. Jody decided that gymnastics was her sport and took lessons when we lived in Riverdale and then joined the gymnastics team at RJH. She then used those skills at RHS, cheering on the ninth grade cheerleading team. Jason finished his baseball career then and concentrated on guitar. Jeffrey finished up with baseball and played basketball at North Clayton Junior and high schools. All 3 took piano lessons. Jeffrey took in Vienna, and Jason and Jody took from Mary Player at Second Baptist Church, College Park. Their piano lessons were short-lived, but this taught them how to read music, which I feel is a crucial skill. Jeffrey played the cornet for a short time, and Jason played trombone. He then wanted to take guitar lessons, which led to his participation in the jazz band at Riverdale High School. When Jody started 7th grade, she was in the youth choir at church along with Jason and Jeffrey. It was heartwarming to see all 3 of my children singing in the youth choir on Sunday evenings, even though there were often protests. Unfortunately, all 3 totaled a car. Jeffrey was driving to our house while a student at GT, and we were in Hawaii. He was hit on the interstate. It totaled the car, but he was okay. Jason was on his way to our house when he was run into a wall by a semi. It also totaled his car, which he never liked, but he was okay too. Jody had a cute prelude. Her parking brake would not work, so Bill Mullinax fixed it. The next day, after getting her car back, she drove up an incline and failed to engage the parking brake. Of course, her car rolled down the drive, hit a pole, and was totaled. Again, no one was injured. We are most thankful that they were not damaged in any of these incidents. When basketball season was over, Jeffrey wanted to get a job and got one at Champs at Shannon Mall. Jason wanted to get a job when he was 15 and wanted to work at CFA in Riverdale with a lot of his friends. They would not hire him unless he cut his hair, which was very long in the back. It had to be collar length or shorter to work there, so he cut his hair. Yay for CFA. Jody also worked at CFA during high school and was Doodles. Sue, many memories go through my mind, but this writing will do for now. Granna, if you could choose any talents to have, what would they be? Ian. I have always believed that a natural talent for music would be an outstanding asset to have. I can read music because I learned to read music while taking piano lessons from the ages of 10 to 13. I worked hard to play the piano and practiced for an hour each day. My brother Bill also practiced, but ad-libbed, and I thought that was so neat. I admire people who have the natural ability to play anything they hear. It does not matter what instrument it is. It is fun to watch someone sit down and play. What is even more awesome is to know that a person built on their natural ability and increased their abilities to make music. I know of people with that natural ability, and they worked hard at advanced degrees and private lessons to strengthen their musical ability. They could read the most difficult of music and play it with ease because of all their training. I feel the same goes for the natural singing voice. Many individuals with that natural ability have never had professional lessons, yet their singing can still touch the heart, and many with the natural ability had had lessons, practiced hard, and succeeded in being a master of their talent. I guess any talent in any area of life, whether music, personality, conversation, listening, caring, can be a natural talent. However, I believe that any natural talent needs to be nurtured and developed to its full potential, allowing a person to utilize it to the best of their ability.
What is your favorite joke?
I obviously enjoy a good joke, but can never remember them. So if I hear a joke, I might say it is a good one. However, I do remember a prank that took place in seminary. JW, Bobby, and Jimmy loved attending auctions. It was amazing what treasure they would bring home, like a sparse set of flatware, etc. However, they expanded their horizons and began attending car auctions. They would bid on cars, knowing their bid would not be accepted, but it was enjoyable for them to be part of the process. One time they went and persuaded Bobby to bid on several cars. He knew there was no chance any of the bids would go through. JW and Jimmy drew up an official letter stating that Bobby's bids had gone through and that he was the owner of several cars. They needed his money soon. Bobby worked as nighttime security on the seminary campus, and JW and Jimmy knew his routine: patrolling, then heading to the student center, checking on things, and constantly checking his mail. Since it was delivered twice a day, they somehow got this official letter in Bobby's mailbox. Sure enough, Bobby checked his mail and was utterly shocked by the news of his new car ownership. He immediately drove to our trailer, which JW was expecting. He pounded on our door, and when we answered, he was in complete distress. He explained the letter and said he had no money, and what was he to do? Maddie was pregnant with Rob, and they had no more financial resources. JW let him rant and rave for a while, and then bent over double laughing. That Bobby had a clue that something was fishy. Despite that episode, their friendships have endured through the years. Those three guys and their wives count each other as family and treasure their friendships and memories.
Granna, what were some of your life's greatest surprises?
Something good. On my 40th birthday, I had finished teaching at Forest Park Junior High for the week and was at Oliver Elementary with Jody, helping with the fall festival. I had finished my shift of work and rounded up Jody from her friends, and we drove home. What a surprise when we went up and there were extra cars in the driveway. As I got out of the vehicle, JW, Jeffrey, Jason, Bobby, Maddie, Jimmy, and Connie came out with a wheelchair and a robe to take me into the house. JW had bought catered food from Jerry's cafeteria, and we had a cake. I could not believe that JW had taken care of the food himself, although his secretary Sue Hill probably helped. My presents consisted of geriatric gifts. What a fun evening we had being together with our children and our dear friends. It was a total surprise to me. On my 60th birthday, Jeffrey and family and my mother were at our house. I was amazed when Jody and Jeff showed up from one of their wedding showers late that evening. We scrambled to find sleeping places for everyone. When we got home from church on Sunday morning, there was Jason and his family. That was a fun surprise to celebrate with family and a cake. Another surprise was our 40th anniversary. Our anniversary is June 15, and we celebrated. I think we went somewhere for the night. Later in July, we had Camp Wallace at our house. We had gone for various day trips, and on Saturday, Jody, Heather, and Kristen had all these excuses for running different errands. Little did we know that they had gotten a key to the church at East Point, and we were preparing our 40th anniversary reception. I totally enjoyed the day playing outside by the blow-up pool with the children. On Sunday morning, I sat with the family at church, which was a treat for me. I was so surprised when I saw Jimmy and Connie come in for church. I was excited that they would get to see all the children. We were sitting in church, and Heather said Kayla needed to be taken out and Kristen left with her. Still, we had no suspicions. Then, after church, Jeffrey went up to the pulpit and announced that we were celebrating our 40th anniversary with lunch in the fellowship hall. They had sent invitations, let the church know, and invited them, as well as family and many dear friends, both locally and to various places. What a surprise, and what a fun time we had. So, when it came time for our 50th, we said that we had already had a reception and thought a cruise in Alaska would be fun. My family has come up with many fun surprises, some planned and some unplanned. The most important part is spending time together.
Granna, what are some lessons from your parents?
Expectations were high, and I tried to meet those. I failed many times. My dad was a loving man riddled with heart issues. He did his best to lead an everyday life with angina pain, and I feel that for the most part, he did lead an everyday life. He took time to spend with us when he was home from work. He knew the value of hard work. Having started helping with his family's finances at 16, he was a giving man, very generous with his resources and time. He was a devout Christian who studied his Bible and took classes to deepen his knowledge of it. He always took us on vacations, even though they were to visit family. He made them adventures. He came from a loving and hugging family, and this, in turn, was passed on to us. Mother was a very resourceful person. She had lived during the Depression and knew how to make food and clothes last. She was an excellent cook and enjoyed being creative in the kitchen. She learned to sew at an early age and passed on that skill to me. She was supportive of what Daddy did. Mother and Daddy provided a happy and Christian home for us. We knew that we were to get along with one another. They expected us to do our best in school. I learned that grudges do not make for happy times, so I have tried all my life to get along with others. I am thankful for the love and support that both parents gave me. Mother was supportive and involved in our lives after we moved from Calhoun. I feel that Daddy would have been my biggest cheerleader in the life that I had as a young mother, teacher, and supporter of JW.
Anna, did you consider any other careers? How did you choose?
As I chose my major at West Georgia College to be math, I needed to select a minor. Education was a good choice for me. With this combination, I was able to avoid taking the challenging math classes. That suited me fine. With a math ed degree, I could teach math in grades 7, 12. I would have the summers off and good vacations during the school year. I thoroughly enjoyed all the years that I taught. I taught at St. Bernard Girls School in Beauregard, Louisiana during our first year of seminary. The second year, I transferred to Grace King High School in another parish in New Orleans. These were good years for me because I had a steady paycheck coming in, $550 per month, and I could spend my weekends and summers with JW as he was a student at NOBTS. When he graduated, I decided not to teach for a while. When I returned to teaching, I taught for 2 years at Dublin Junior High, then spent 5 years at Forest Park Junior, 1 year at Riverdale Junior, 1 year at Riverdale Senior, and 15 years at Lovejoy High School. I continued to enjoy the perks of teaching. It was great to be home on most days when my children were off from school. However, most of my summers in the latter years of teaching were spent in Georgia State or take staff development classes. But that was okay since my children were grown then. I thoroughly enjoyed my career as a teacher. If I were in school now, I would strive to be a better student and consider pursuing a degree in meteorology. The ways equipment and technology are used to predict the weather are amazing to me. Also, I might consider being a nurse practitioner. I think helping people in the field of medicine would be fulfilling. I would find fulfillment in getting to know people and helping them on their journey to health.
Granna, has anyone ever rescued you, figuratively or literally?
Jody and I decided on a mother-daughter trip to New York in May 1999 for Mother's Day. We had never been to New York and were excited about the journey and the adventures. My brother Bill had come home for a few days, and we decided to go to Mother's home in Calhoun to see him. We went on the Friday before we were to leave for New York the next day. JW, Jody and I made the trip to Calhoun. We left about 9:00 to go home. We were about 10 minutes into our trip on I-75 when a deer ran out in front of us. It knocked us into the right lane and made our car go dead. We did not know we were still in a traffic lane or that our car had gone dead. All of a sudden, I looked back and saw a big semi headed right toward us. It veered off to the right shoulder just in time to keep from demolishing our car. It sideswiped our vehicle, and of course, the noise was horrible. We were physically okay, but emotionally a wreck. JW looked back and did not see Jody. He went into hysterics because he thought she had been injured. She had gone down into the seat upon impact and was not hurt. She immediately started massaging JW's shoulders and instructing him to breathe, etc., to calm the panic attack. The truck driver was not injured. His truck had gone down in a deep ditch. People who had seen the wreck called 911, and we had immediate help. They encouraged us to get in the back of the ambulance to get checked out. We were thinking about what we were going to do. I immediately said we would have to cancel the New York trip, and JW and Jody said no, that we were going as planned. Our car was not drivable, and it was late at night. What were we to do? At that time, Jonathan Parker showed up. Jonathan is the son of my cousin Carol, and he is a Georgia State Patrol officer. He answered the call to investigate the accident. He and I immediately recognized each other. He took us back to Mother's house, and she and Bill drove us home that night. I guess they got home about 3 that morning, but we were indeed rescued off the highway by Jonathan, and we had to get back home with Bill. We did not have time to get much sleep that morning, but Jody and I flew to New York for our Mother's Day trip and had a fabulous time. I was so ignorant of the layout of New York that when the cabbie asked if we wanted to go to Manhattan, I told him, no, we wanted to go to New York. When he explained he needed more information, I let him know that we were staying near Times Square. He got us to our hotel with no problem. We saw The Sound of Music and Les Mis on Broadway, had a great bus tour, enjoyed the restaurants, and loved the shopping.